Hey, how's it going? I like that song. Found a cool loop. I found a cool loop for the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am DDO's community manager who forgot to set his mic level before going live. Let me take care of that quick. Sorry, I'm going to get louder. All right. Sorry about that. I have my mic set to not adjust, but something's happening in Windows where it's doing it anyway. All right, welcome everybody. How's it going? I'm on Wayfinder today. We don't have a lot of news to talk about, but we do have two really cool pieces of news that I'll get to in just a little bit, including the return of a well-liked event. That's going to be happening this week. I also have the latest news. I'm going to be on Wayfinder. I think what I might do is run Danger at Dunwater. I got started on that at the tail end of last week's show, but of course it's a very long quest, so I kind of got in there just to sort of run around and kill time as much as anything in terms of content, knowing that I wouldn't quite finish it up. But I think I might go back in today and run that. So I think that'll be probably what you'll be looking at here in a little bit. But for the most part, we're just here to talk about the latest news, do some Q&A, really just sort of open it up to the audience here. Welcome everyone on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Afternoon, Jesse. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Dyrune. And, gosh, my eyesight's getting so bad. Can we expect news updates on DDO's Steam page? Carabaron666 asks over on Twitch. Cerberon. Anyway, the answer to that is yes. I'm actually in the process of doing, getting some of the content up on the Steam page of late. You know, we had gone a long time without really being able to touch that Steam page for various reasons I'm not getting into. But that is gone now, so we're back to being able to support our Steam page again. And because of that, we're doing it. So that's what's up. So what happened to my titles? Where did my titles go? Okay. Alright. Let me drop that a little bit in size. Alright. And actually, while I'm at it, let me just move that over to, how about there? That'll work. Alright, so, let me just, I guess that's the first bit of news, is we do have a little bit of work happening on our Steam page for both games. It's still old news, because I went back to, I guess it was update 50 here, Saltmarsh, over on the Steam page, but as time permits, basically I'm seeding articles into it, shoving all that old 2015 stuff down the page, and so hopefully within the next couple of weeks that'll start looking a lot better, at the very least. There's been an interesting discussion on, oh gosh, maybe I've got the wrong game now. Sorry about that. Someone was asking if we're going to be on GeForce Now, and there's been a big discussion on I guess it was a Lotra side about that. All I can really say is that I looked into it a little bit. It is going to be more than just checking a checkbox. Someone had created a thread saying all Standing Stone Games needs to do is go into, you know, the Steamworks SDK and pop a button to get onto GeForce Now. Technically, that may be somewhat true, but there is also contractual and legal documentation that must be signed, so clearly it's a little bit more than Cordo going in and checking a checkbox. I don't really see that happening anytime in the near future, but as a theoretical possibility, who knows? Who knows? Maybe someday in the future, huh? Where can you submit bug reports? The answer to that question is help.standingstonegames.com. Related to that, in the relatively near future, at one point it was already going to be here, but the process has just kind of been kicked down the road a little bit due to various kind of technical issues and delays, but we're going to be redoing the help menu in-game. Right now, you know, if you go to the help menu, it's a little weak, and we're going to be updating that. We're transitioning over to a new in-game kind of help system software. That should be happening within the next few weeks. In terms of the process, it's really just all going to be going through help.standingstonegames.com. So if you're already used to filing tickets through help.standingstonegames.com, nothing's really going to be changing other than the fact that we're bringing that user interface into the help menu here. But for those who are not familiar with it, who might be using our old system, or used to using the old system, there's a little bit of a process change. And I've got a web page that I'm going to be publishing for when we go live with that that'll kind of help explain the new process. But overall, it's pretty minor in terms of news. The help system, on the back end, it's a whole bunch of work. But in terms of public-facing stuff, it's really basically the same as ever, except that you'll have... It's all being consolidated through Zendesk, which is what help.standingstonegames.com is. And a lot of people know that because you get used to seeing it in various places. All right, let me quick go through chat here. And actually, while I'm doing that, let me just quick do my daily dice here as well. $2,000 XP on that end. I'll take it. Not so much for this. Or when I TR, I guess. If I TR, I guess. Alright, let me head through chat. Was the extended downtime to fix lag? No. The extended downtime just related to systems maintenance that took longer than a quick reboot. We are aware that there are some game performance things that we are looking into. I was playing a bunch this weekend, so was a bunch of the team. We're aware of it. And we have a few places that we are investigating. We think we've at least made some progress on a few things. For example, I believe it was Torque that recently found an improvement we can make related to some monster detection kind of systems. And we'll see what the fruit of that labor is, but we are investigating a few things, so we are aware of that. And hopefully I would assume in the next couple of patches we may have some work in that regard. Mimics, question mark? I've not heard of a plan to bring back the Mimic event to the live worlds. We do have Night Revels coming up next month, and I've heard a few plans related to that. Maybe I can drop a hint or two during the show today. But I don't know if I'm really actually able to discuss it at this point. Suggestion for spell components. Get rid of them all. Just put omnis on the general vendors. It already stacks to 10,000. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Could do something like that. However, I don't know. There's certainly no plan to do that, and it is kind of a D&D-like system with spell components. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh, that's right. You missed me for a raid night. Well, I can't promise I'm going to be there every Wednesday. I've been busy. I have been very, very busy. I have not had time to do much of any gaming outside of work-related gaming for, about the past 2 weeks. Just to be clear, Zendesk has been used by us for years now through the not in-game help system. It's been help.standingstonegames.com since launch. But there was an old kind of crusty system dating back years and years prior to that was still used for in-game help tickets. And that's going to be transitioning over to our 5-year-old now almost help ticket system. But that is finally happening. I think the only area that's still going to use the old reporting system is related to gold spammer reports and harassment reports. There's still some kind of need to retain it for that, but the rest of everything else will be done essentially through email, whether you file it in-game or out of game. Will DDO has a mobile version like Lotro? Sorry, Lotro does not have a mobile version. And DDO does not either, and it's unlikely either game is going to be being ported to mobile. I can't imagine us ever actually doing that, but you never know. You never know. But I can't imagine this game working very well on a cell phone or tablet. Hello, can hook keyboards nowadays. So I suppose you could. But no, is the answer. We don't have plans to do a mobile version of either game. Any plans to fix an issue with single weapon fighting animations where the body sinks down when you thrust your weapon forward when you move? I will bring that up to our animator this afternoon and see what's up. I don't remember seeing that. I'll have to... I guess I'm just not used to looking. After a while you get used to it. Any news on upgrading epic sand items to legendary? Nothing to announce today, sorry. You are curious. Yes, Marty, thank you. Thank you for lobbing me the next topic, and really the big topic of the day here. Let me get a better look so we're just not staring at my back here. Let me kind of head in to at least a landscape so I can do a little bit of talking. Marty asks over on Facebook, you're curious what the Fate Singer, Draconic Incarnation, Exalted Angel, and new Magister replacement Epic Destinies will look like. I can't really describe that today, but the main point is that next week we are going to be doing a preview on Lamania, and that preview is going to be about half the Epic Destinies. It's not going to be all the Epic Destinies, it's going to be half the Epic Destinies. And that is going to be... and then a couple weeks later, we'll do the other half of all the Epic Destinies. So that's the plan, is that within the next few weeks, you'll be seeing a whole new round of Epic Destiny work for Update 51 on Lamania. And that's going to start next Monday. I should back up to just say I don't know that those exact Epic Destiny trees are the ones that are going to be previewed. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the Magister replacement is not in that next week Lamania preview. However, half the Epic Destinies will be available for preview next week on Lamania. It's going to be on... Gosh, don't jinx it. It's going to be on Tuesday for the public, and we're doing a special content creator preview on Monday. Now, I announced this on the forums and elsewhere yesterday, but to put it here as well, recently on the other game side, we did this for the first time, and it went really well, to the point that we want to do this on the DDO side as well and see how it goes. The main point is that for years now, we've been hearing from content creators, that being, say, Twitch streamers, YouTubers, bloggers, the DDO wiki folks, anyone creating kind of player community content for Dungeons & Dragons Online has often hit us up saying, could we just, like, get onto Lamania just a little bit early? Because, like, man, I'm trying to do all the Epic Destinies for the wiki, and holy moly is that a lot of text. I just need a little time. And then we'll hear, like, sometimes from, say, Twitch streamers, YouTubers about, it would be really awesome if I could have something ready to go and kind of prepared for when we launch our public preview, so that when they go live with it, they're not kind of sitting there in the dark trying to figure it all out live on the air, which I can tell you as someone who live streams myself, there is nothing more stressful than being live on the air and not being entirely clear what you're supposed to be doing or where you're supposed to be going and all that kind of thing. It sucks. It sucks. It makes you feel super helpless and like under the spotlight in a way that's not very pleasant. So it's something we've been wanting to do as well. So what we're going to be doing is on Monday, pretty much anyone who's making content for DDO in the community is welcome to be a part of it. And all you need to do to be a part of it is to get in touch with me. And on Monday, probably in the afternoon, we're going to open Lamania to only people with a special preview token, that being these content creators, who will get an opportunity to, let's say if you're on Twitch or YouTube or something like that, you can just live stream it and kind of hype people up a little bit for our public preview the next day. And that's also generally when people start watching these videos, right? Because a lot of content goes live and then it builds up its audience over the next 12 to 24 hours. So the goal is to kind of time this stuff a little better with our Lamania public previews for content creators. I mean, it's nice for them because they get a little hype, you know, get a few more eyeballs, that kind of thing. It's really nice for, like, wiki people because they can have, if not ready to go, at least certainly much more further along by the time it goes for Lamania. And then everyone else who's just checking it out in the public preview gets the benefit of all that knowledge, all those write-ups and lists and things like that. We do that in our own Lamania release notes, but this really kind of adds that content preview and video and all the other kind of stuff, screenshots and what have you. So we're going to be doing that. So if you are a content creator, if you do Twitch, if you do YouTube, if you're a blogger or whatever, and you think you could benefit from this, and if you're going to be around on Monday, please get in touch with me. You can do it through the forums, you can do it through Twitter. Any way you can get in touch with me is fine. And what I'm going to be asking for privately is your game account username. I don't want you to post that stuff publicly. But privately, I want you to get me your game account username, and then what we're going to do is apply a special token to that account for the duration of the preview that will allow you to access Lamania about 24 hours early on Monday to get a good look at this Epic Destiny stuff. On the Lotro side, when we did it, we saw like a fourfold, and we had like 800 plus people watching Lotro on Twitch on a Tuesday afternoon. And that's higher than average by quite a bit. So we're expecting a similar process maybe this time around, assuming it goes well and people are into it. So that's cool. That's cool. And I did want to get the word out to everyone here. It's not my hand-picked group of people. The goal is really anyone who can benefit from it. In terms of content creation, should get in touch with me if they're interested. Now, if you got 3 people watching your Twitch stream and you don't really want to do the work, that's fine. That's fine. The other big thing is this is not an opportunity to just kind of hang out in the test dojo 24 hours early. So if all you're really doing on Lamania is just sort of checking things out for fun, and you're not creating content, you ain't getting in. You have to be creating content in order to do this, of some kind. But other than that, it's pretty much loose and it's pretty much open to everybody. So just get in touch with me, and we'll make that happen. And if you miss it this time around, we'll be doing this in the future as well. I don't think that content creator token is permanent. Besides, we have to open it to that sort of token. So even if it was permanently applied to your account, we could still toggle it. But the goal is for any of these sort of larger previews, especially first previews or previews with a ton of content or information in it, like, say, oh, we're redoing all the Epic Destinies. We want to do this because it really has, at least, I mean, it proved itself within about 15-20 minutes, frankly, when we did it the day after Labor Day on the Lotro side. Because as soon as we went live, people were like, oh my god, thank you. We had the wiki people in like their own Discord kind of chatting everyone up and getting things organized. And like I said, the numbers on content creators, Twitchers, and YouTubers saw a real big boost. Bloggers had all sorts of cool articles ready to go for the next day. And it really just worked out pretty well. And then frankly, because of that, we even got a little bit more press. Because like some of the blog sites and news sites picked up on it. So there we go. Kinda groovy. And that's the big piece of news for the week. The other big piece of news for the week is the bonus days. I got kind of a bug. What? Oh. It's because I had that off. Is that always? Is it always like that? Okay. If I open up map, we're fine. Now if I do that... Well... I just found a bug. I just found a feature. That's what I found. That's a feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a bug. And we'll have to fix it. Interesting, though. I was able to repro it. Someone's asking about lag in the other game side. You really can't compare those two. They really do, even though there are some a lot of things in common in terms of, say, underpinning infrastructure and system. The games really operate fairly differently in that DDO is a much more instanced sort of game, and Locho is more of a big open world, and there's kind of a whole bunch of things that just sort of lead to it not being the best way to, say, to target lag in one game versus lag in a second in the other game. They kind of operate under their own thing, although there are times where we can sort of target one and take care of the other. And that's always great news, because that, of course, you know, saves time and effort. If you can make the change for one game and it'll work on the other game as well. Kind of wanted to avoid the oozes here, but whatever. Get up.
Surround a low entrance into the hillside. This is the lizard folk's new lair.
All right. Gangsta mode. It's pretty funny. It's not bad. I'm gonna bring myself out a little bit of just that guy, and I should probably bring this guy out. And I don't know. I think I forgot to get myself a cleric, unfortunately. And I don't think I've got one spare one in my hireling folder, but that's fine. We'll just do without. Oh, also, by the way, did you notice I got this last week? I saw this last week, and I was like, oh. Oh, when I was going through my inventory pre-show here, I was in selling and kind of getting things ready. I was like, whoa. When did I pick that sucker up? It must have been last week. I have no use for a short sword in this barbarian, but that's pretty cool. It's definitely going into the bank. So, not bad, huh? Favored weapon and everything. Again, no use on the barbarian, but that's fine. It's fine. Yep. Oh, also, before I get too far along, I think I might have changed my... Oh no, my audio's okay. Okay, cool. By the way, I am using the public grouping system on Wayfinder. If you happen to be on Wayfinder or want to be on Wayfinder and join me here for the next 20, 30 minutes or what have you, go ahead. Just pop on in and use that public grouping system. We have a change that I think... can't remember who talked about it on the forums. I think it might have been Linabel. But we're making a change on the public grouping system here in the real near future that's going to... I mean, fix isn't maybe the right word, but fix to the extent that it's a long-standing player request to adjust the level ranges on public LFM grouping to actually meet what people do. That being, you know, wanting to make sure you don't have over-level penalties and things like that. So I don't have the whole list in front of me, so I don't really want to go through it all right now. But in general, we're going to find some nice changes related to that. Okay. Oh, is the LFM change already live? I thought that wasn't live yet. Gosh. Sorry about that. Yes. Sorry, I've been teasing it long enough. What is our bonus days? Our bonus days is Crystal Cove. Yeah. We're doing Crystal Cove this week. And let me get through this battle and then let me find the end date for you. But it's for like a weekish. a couple weekends, you know, standard thing. So, what do we got? We have got Crystal Cove kicking off tomorrow, late morning Eastern time, and running through Sunday, September 26th. That'll be shut off the morning of the 27th, and that's Crystal Cove. Now, a quick note that there is nothing new per se with Crystal Cove this year. However, it was only around for a relatively short time last time around, and we have had more than a couple requests to bring it back. So even though we didn't get the opportunity to do further work on it, we're still going to be bringing it out for those who don't have the stuff that they want. And so that's going to be happening tomorrow. Yeah.
This doorway is sealed for now. There must be another way through.
Let's see. I'm trying to see what is still going to be one open zone. Not sure. I'm not quite understanding that question. Are you asking if the wilderness, that little wilderness section in Euphonia's challenge there, is going to remain one instance or multi-instance, more like Night Revels? The answer is nothing has changed, so it'll be the same as it was.
I must speak with you, outsider. We both face a threat.
Which is one zone.
The lizard folk queen
And
swears that she means
again, I
to
could...
to
news, but I can't say it. I've heard of some plans for Night Revels. One of the things that we've been hearing feedback on in Night Revels is that while people like the Delira's Graveyard area, they'd like to expand their opportunity to get keys elsewhere. And so I think what we're going to be largely doing, you know, nothing's changing with the nothing is changing with the public area, but we are going to be, I think, expanding the system to just generally work throughout the game. And I'm going to have more info on that in the future. You know, you got those potions, those chocolates. It's essentially going to be, everyone's going to have infinite. You don't have chocolates. I mean, we'll still have chocolates. They'll do something else. But the way that works, you're just going to get your stuff, including key drops, pretty much wherever you are, as long as you're on level and such. So, we'll have more info on that. I also have heard what we're going to be doing for itemization, but I definitely can't break the news on that one here today. Sorry.
This is the queen's royal hatchery. Her eggs are safely locked away from the rebels.
So I guess that's as much as a hint as I can hint. Did I make it too obvious? Not obvious enough? I don't know. But we got some things happening, so that's cool. However, all of that work for Night Revels is largely the work that might otherwise have been done to maybe add a new quest or what have you. So instead of a new kind of Night Revels-ified quest, we're going to be doing all those changes. But we'll have more info as we get closer to that. I could say, per usual, we're going to have kind of a new armor, right? You know, we got our armor kind of recolor planned out. And so we got that happening as well. Actually, I'm going the wrong way here. How about I turn around? I need to get to the western Caverns, which is down this... Well, I'm in, but over the western section of the western Caverns. So let's do that, shall we? See, if I tell you the color, then I've totally spoiled everything. And there might be people who are like, you said you weren't going to talk about it yet. And so I shouldn't, and I won't. But, yes, it's got a new color. And then we have, you know, at least one other item that I know of that'll be added to the list. And then I think we've even got kind of a special fancy plan for a thing that'll probably just go straight to the store, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's take care of these.
Fresh bones litter this large cavern. Without warning, oversized crayfish burst up from below.
The Ravenous Crayfish, by the way, is one of my favorite punk bands. They are so good. Ironically, they're all pescatarians. Alright, well, Night Revels is still going to be... I mean, the core of Night Revels is still going to be gathering keys, going into the using those keys to go into the dungeons, completing the dungeons to get ingredients, and using those ingredients to get your Night Revels loot. So none of that core structure is going to change. The main thing we're going to be doing is trying to bring people who want to out of, frankly, having to grind keys into Lara's graveyard, and instead find other places where they can just run whatever content, and as they're running content, they'll start picking up those keys. I've not heard of plans to bring the Tome of Epic Destiny in the stores, into the store. I think what we'll do for Epic Destinies is probably not see a whole lot until we completely redo the system here with Update 51, which is coming up pretty quick. So a lot of the, like, for example, there was recently one of those terrible Epic Reincarnation bugs that I got reported on the forums. And we've got, you know, CS working to resolve it for that individual and that. But the new system's gonna, I mean, all signs point to the new system completely removing that as even a possibility of happening, so it's not going to be happening anymore. Because it can't happen anymore, because there's not, the whole system is being redone. At least that's the hope, right? But, so like things like bringing Epic Destiny into the store, you know, maybe a couple weeks before we go live with a complete thing that's going to top to bottom change the way Epic Destinies work. Probably not a good idea. So I think we'll probably not see a whole lot of Epic Destiny promo until the new Epic Destiny system is live. In terms of like, hey, you should buy the thing.
And the floor nearby collapses.
I've done my part. Get out there, finish the job.
I really need to get a news weapon on Wayfinder here. I'm just swapping over to basically weapons that I was using that I'm no longer using for regular combat instead. I should probably fix that. Alright, so I guess I would just say that if honestly, I mean, I know it's bad form to just say, you probably should stop watching, but if all you're here for is to get the kind of upfront news, I'm done. I'm done with the upfront news. We got it all. We got Crystal Cove, and we got our special preview next week, and then we got our public preview next week, and that's what we got for, the show here today. Shamans Quarters is next. Well, I mean, sure, if you want the loot grind, the event. And honestly, Night Revels, I mean, I know, gosh, I'm going to probably get some heat from this, but in general, I have never found Night Revels to be particularly grindy. It's pretty easy to get that stuff. I don't think there's ever been a time where it took me more than an hour to get a Night Revels item I was looking for. Outside of whatever time it took to get the keys if you didn't want to just get one from the store. It's pretty easy to get Night Revels stuff for the most part. Even the stuff that costs the higher end, you can still do pretty darn quick. At least that's my experience. So, we'll see. If you agree, I guess. But the goal is, I mean, yeah, there's always gonna, I mean, there's always gonna be some gameplay involved in this kind of thing. It's not, hey, just go get free loot and then be done with it. But I don't think it's going to be particularly grindy, and it'll certainly reduce the key grind by letting you just kind of do whatever, you know, run Reaper questing, whatever you're doing, you can just do it. So, get keys and what have you. Yes, so I probably shouldn't my whole show seems to be like, I probably shouldn't say this. Probably not a good idea. However... Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. What the heck was I talking about? I probably shouldn't say this, but... I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have said it. Can't think of it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely lost it. Completely lost it. Oops. Having a hard time in here. Okay. Yes, I am getting old. What can I say? Oh, yes. Thank you. The 30% challenge bonus. The second weekend. Second weekend. That's what we're going to be doing next weekend. So at the very end of the final weekend of Night Revels is going to have a challenge boost. Sort of a way to... It's like, oh my god, I'm running out of time. You'll get a boost there. I can't announce when we will next have Autos boxes. Historically, we almost always... I can't think of a holiday that we haven't. Like, Black Friday... whatever the December group of holidays you want to call it is.
Hidden on the underside of this table is some sort of sticky goop. But stuck to the goop
Where did that...
golden key.
So, I would imagine we'll see it about when you'd think we'd see it. But, ultimately, I guess that'll be a question for the future. Huh. I'm trying to remember here. Could have sworn... Was it that up here? My shaman's... Oh, it's a chest anyway. Good thing I got that. Ooh. Well, look at that. Well, look at that, huh? I would have to find another way to replace my Seeker, Stunning, and Deadly. Command's not going to help me. Insightful Combat Mastery certainly would. Tendon Slice is okay. Alright, alright. Well, I'll have to think about that one there. Why do I feel... Where am I missing? I keep on forgetting where I need to defeat this stupid High Shaman. I could have sworn it was there, but I guess not, huh? Did I check the other side? Let me just check the other side quick. Go back up and make sure that there's nothing I missed here. When is the next hardcore season? Good question. It'll be before the end of the year. That I can drop a hint on. There's the hatchery. Alright, nothing there. And then if I pop over here, this will actually bring me, if I recall, back to the central caverns, won't it? Yeah, okay, no, that's just that. Alright, I've searched all this out, so it's not there. Let me do one last check of the other one. I could have sworn I already checked the other side, but... I can't say, sorry. It's a little too early to talk about the theme for the next hardcore and what have you. I guess the most I could say is that we have a plan to do the next season of hardcore before the end of the year. And that's really all I can say about it. Alright, and this is the area... Oh, this is where I can look. That's to the central caverns. I don't want to do that. This is the water. Brought me in there. And this I can't get into. This is the hatchery. Alright, so... I don't got a hint. Hate to ask for hints publicly, but I have to admit, I'm not 100% sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. Let me, I guess just keep exploring while I think about it. Oh, am I going to switch back to my axe? Yes, thank you. Aaron asks on Facebook, is there any chance we can add a maximum door timer to the opening?
What's in my head?
of Crystal Cove. Last time the event was running, it would take hours for the door to open because almost nobody was farming pieces. So I guess I would first say, not sure what server you were on. That was absolutely not my experience. In terms of Night Revels or Crystal Cove last time around, it's pretty easy to open them. You can even solo open them if you want to. I mean, I personally opened Crystal Cove a couple of times on Thelanis. So, I don't know. But it didn't take me hours. It took me less than an hour. Just go into Kobold's new ringleader and Butcher's Path and what have you and grind up those crystals, or those treasure map pieces, and you're good to go. But to your wider point, while we don't have the technology to set a door timer for Crystal Cove, we would have to create that technology and bring it to the game. We do have some ability to set the threshold of map pieces that are required to turn in order to unlock Crystal Cove. Typically, for example, on Wayfinder here, we actually set it lower than the other game worlds because Wayfinder has its lower population. So we could, if we found, for example, that we actually were in a scenario where we are losing, where it's taking people hours to get this stuff, then we can adjust if we need to. But at least I don't remember last time around that being the case at all in terms of taking hours to open up the mining challenge. God, I could have sworn. Am I totally off base here? Someone help me out in chat. Am I totally off base? I could have sworn that's where we had to go for the High Shaman. Why the heck am I not seeing the High Shaman? Could have sworn the High Shaman was in here. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I can pass along the suggestion, Arson Angel Fire, regarding your Take the Opening Horizon Walker suggestion. We'll just kind of quick copy that over and pass that along. Yeah, he's usually in there. I could have sworn, right? Yeah, so what am I missing here? Alright. Did something just break? Or did I just do something wrong? I guess either way, we've got whatever amount of time. I'm just going to go in and kill things, and we'll just not worry about it. So. I have the crests, but I don't have a place to put the crests in on this side, right? So it has to go in on the other side. And you get to the other side by going around piece away. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oops.
High Shaman Caverns and the other rebel leaders have met their end.
Enjoy
Now
the
to
moment.
tell the lizard
But
folk
don't let this
free.
distract you from the mission.
Can you use it?
A grateful Queen
What?
Kent says that the lizard folk are willing to ally with Salt
Eastern Caverns. That's to Western, to Eastern. Okay.
Speak with the 3 ambassadors from other tribes and rescue the captured subchief, Eartos.
And the answer is yes, I did actually kill him last week, but then I stopped playing because I had a 1 o'clock meeting, like I have today, as a matter of fact. But that's okay. We'll see how far we can get. And it doesn't matter.
Spot the spear crest on the table near a group of rebel officers. The way is blocked by a magical barrier. The rebel officer laughs and casts a spell that creates barriers at the entrance. You'll need to fight to get the crest.
Yeah, I probably, again, am not going to complete this. But what I think I'll do this time around is just leave myself in the quest and complete it a little bit later this afternoon. And then I'll have something new to run next week. I may also actually swap servers here relatively soon. You know, I've kind of on a kick because I've been playing on Thelanis pretty much for quite a long time because it's kind of my home server and that's where all my most developed characters are. But I'm swapping around to other servers here, and I've been doing Wayfinder for, what, 3-4 weeks now? I like this character, so I might keep playing him for a while. But I could also swap servers, maybe go to Argo or what have you. For later.
Ambassadors from 3 different tribes await within this cavern. The Bullywugs, the Troglodytes, and the Sea Elves. You've concluded negotiations with the Bullywug tribe. The ambassador of the Troglodyte tribe has asked you to find his stolen necklace and deal with the thief responsible.
Yeah, this is a really long quest. This is clearly the longest quest in Saltmarsh, as far as I can tell. Although you can go pretty long ways into a few other things as well. But yeah. Oops, that's returned to Saltmarsh. Definitely don't want to do that. Where did I go? Uh-oh. What happened to me? There we go. Maybe off this way, huh? Oh, a quick bit of personal hype, and that is that for those of you into D&D Tabletop, every Sunday night from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, we have a bunch of DDO players playing tabletop D&D on this Twitch channel here, twitch.tv/DDO stream, called D&D Night on DDO stream. And this Sunday, I'm going to be the DM. I usually have, for the most part, do the third Sunday of the month. And we are going to be kicking off a kind of a new phase of our adventure here. We've been running in this kind of homemade campaign setting thing I've been doing for quite some time, and it's been on a bit of a break since the last big sort of to-do where they essentially defeated the Queen of the Realm, who was turning into a lich by destroying the phylactery. And we're kicking off. We're really moving into the next phase on Sunday. So if you're down for that, join me over on twitch.tv/DDO stream, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And I will be doing a bunch of work in Fantasy Grounds this weekend, getting it ready to go. So pretty psyched. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Tells you that one of the Revel officers has taken the Crest to free him. Now that you've saved Sub-Chief Irtos, the Lizard Folk Rebellion has finally been put to rest. The Lizard Folk can focus on reclaiming their home from the Sahuagin.
Alright, I think I'm pretty much out of time here. Yep, about 1:02. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be back next Wednesday with more, maybe on Wayfinder, maybe somewhere else. And actually, you know what? What am I thinking? Next Wednesday is going to be Lamania. Next weekend's going to be Lamania. So I'll be doing Epic Destiny stuff next week from Lamania. That's what we're going to be doing on the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream in 1 week. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy Crystal Cove, and I will talk to you again in the future. Bye-bye.